I was recommended a video where the woman in the thumbnail looked suspiciously similar to my high school biology teacher. Naturally, I had to click on it. When I heard the voice, my suspicions were confirmed. This was definitely Mrs. Wilson. Not her real name, of course. But the more of the video I watched, the more I doubted myself. You see, the topic of the video was something that I hadn't quite understood in class because my teacher had explained it poorly. She was like a zombie in class, reading directly from a slideshow and not bothering to even stand up or add her own words in between. If kids were passing notes, using their phones, or just straight up talking loud enough to drown out her voice, she would just give them an empty stare before going right back to reading from the slides. It was like she was just going through the motions and barely even existed in the same universe as my class. But the woman in that video, who looked and sounded exactly like her, was filled with passion about her subject. She clearly and concisely explained exactly what genetic drift was. Her 10-minute video helped me understand what my teacher couldn't explain in an entire hour, and I wasn't even the only person she helped. The video had over 1 million views, and her channel had nearly 500,000 subscribers. The comments were filled with people thanking her for helping them do their homework and pass their exams. And all of her other videos were about biology, presented just as passionately and clearly, and she truly looked and sounded exactly like a more motivated version of my teacher. Could this really be the same woman as the zombie I saw in class? The next day in class, I pulled up one of the videos on my phone to compare her face in person. There were small differences I didn't pick up on before. The bags under her eyes, the slight frizz to her hair that was perfectly combed in the video, but it was still definitely her. What happened? I wanted so badly to ask if that YouTuber was really her and what happened to all her passion for biology, but I didn't even know how to begin approaching the topic. I didn't know how to talk to a teacher about anything besides class. Heck, I didn't even like talking to my friends about anything besides class. So I waited and watched and tried to figure it out on my own. First of all, the slides she showed us in class didn't read like something the passionate YouTuber I watched would ever say. Did someone else make them? I did a quote search from some random text on her slides and found a PDF with the exact slides she was presenting. Looking at the rest of the website, I found slides from all of her previous lessons too, and a short description that told me all of these slides were included with the teacher's edition of my biology textbook. So she didn't even make the slides she was reading from in class? I felt so cheated. As a student, all of my assignments had to be fully written by me. I could use other resources for research, of course, but never pass off existing work as my own. But somehow, my teacher got to just use some pre-made slides to do her job for her? Sure, she never claimed to be the author of the slides, but it still felt so hypocritical. And knowing that she was capable of doing so much better with her lectures just made it worse. I would rather have her just play the videos in class than watch her drone on soullessly with someone else's slideshow. I was already disappointed with how dull my biology classes were, but knowing how great it could have been, with the very same teacher no less, just made me angry. How could she just give up like that? How could she just give all her passion to YouTube and then totally neglect the students right in front of her? How is this fair to me when I was trying so hard to understand the awful slideshows that I now knew she could have easily explained better? After that, I didn't even pay attention anymore. If she was gonna be mentally checked out during class, then so was I. I would just find a video she made on the same topic on YouTube and listen to that instead while she was reading those awful slides. Occasionally, I caught her looking at me with an expression that somehow seemed more dead and tired than usual. I guess she was disappointed that I wasn't paying attention to her anymore. I think I was the only student in class that actually put in effort before I found out about the plagiarized slides. Honestly, the look on her face made me feel a little guilty. But you know what? It serves her right for not having any integrity. I was here to get an education, and her very own YouTube videos were better for that than her class was. Things only got worse when the next exam rolled around. I saw multiple choice questions that was phrased poorly and had 2 correct answers. I read and reread it a few times in case I was misunderstanding it somehow, but I felt confident in my knowledge, so I took the test up to the teacher and asked about it. Hey, on this question I think both B and C are correct. Let me see. Huh, you're completely right. So you were paying attention. For a moment, I could see the woman who actually cared about biology shining through her eyes. I wasn't. I was watching YouTube videos instead. Your YouTube videos, actually. Class, there was a poorly phrased question, so I'll give everyone a free answer on that one. Just choose option B for question 32. She handed my exam back to me with an unreadable expression on her face. I so wished to ask more, but time was ticking and I had to finish the rest of the test. When I finally got the test back, I did a quote search on the questions in the test. My teacher's reaction made it seem like she hadn't even written the questions, and knowing that her slides weren't her own, I thought it was pretty likely that the test questions came from somewhere else too. And lo and behold, an entire PDF question bank of exam questions that also came with the teacher's edition of my textbook. I saw literally every question from my exam in that PDF. Looking back at earlier chapters, I saw questions I recognized from previous exams too, and the whole question bank came with an answer key. Well, that complicated things. I was already getting an A in biology. It wasn't like I needed to cheat to succeed, but now I had the answers to every question that could ever be asked on any exam in my biology class. The thing that angered me most about this situation was how much my teacher was cheating. I felt cheated out of my education, and I wasn't about to cheat myself out of an education by studying an answer key instead of studying the subject itself. No. I was determined to confront my teacher about all of this stolen material and demand answers. After school the next day, I found her in her classroom, grading last night's homework. Despite my resolve, I wasn't sure where to begin. All the fiery objections I rehearsed in my mind evaporated when I saw the dead look in her eyes. "Did you have a question?" she asked after I stood too long in the doorway. No, but I do want to tell you something. Yesterday I searched up the questions from our last exam. I ended up finding the answer key for the entire question bank that goes with our textbook. Does anyone else know? That you... No, unless they found it themselves. That's all I said out loud, but on the inside I was screaming. That's the part you care about? Getting caught in your mass plagiarism? You don't even care if I was cheating. You only care that other people don't know that you've been cheating us out of an education this whole time. I'm sorry. What? I know you found my YouTube channel, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions. All I can say is that the school asked me to stop working on that and not to talk about it to students. I wish I could do better for you, but I can't right now. Please just don't tell anyone else about any of it. I don't know what I could do if I don't have this job anymore. Are you okay? It's been a long time since anyone asked me that, but it's not your job to worry about me. Just go and be the best student you can, okay? It was pretty obvious she wanted me to just leave at that point, but I had even more questions now, and all about things she just asked me not to talk about. Aren't you worried I'll cheat? A stupid question, but I didn't know what else to say. You came to tell me about it, so I didn't think you would. Oh, I guess. I was too awkward to figure out a way to ask what I wanted to without upsetting her. This conversation was way out of my comfort zone to begin with, and I had no idea how to proceed. So, like an idiot, I just said, "Oh well, I guess that was the main thing I wanted to tell you about, so I'm gonna go catch the bus then. Bye." And the rest of the school year went just as frustratingly, and I didn't get any new answers. When I graduated, she left a note with my final grade. "Thank you for caring." And I never heard anything else from her again, but I was left with the lingering feeling of confusion and frustration. It wasn't until I was already starting my first year of college that I got even a partial answer to all my questions, which really only brought up more questions. It was an obituary sent in my school district's newsletter to alumni. "It is with heavy hearts that we announce that we have lost Mr. Bradley Wilson, our celebrated middle school art teacher, following a long battle with cancer, and his beloved wife, Mrs. Sarah Wilson, our dearest high school biology teacher." Oh. So all year, she must have been worrying herself sick over her husband's illness. I never knew that was happening. But then again, the high school students in my district didn't really keep track of what happened in the middle school, and they never specified what happened to Mrs. Wilson, but since she seemed physically healthy and she passed on close enough to her husband to include them in the same obituary, well, in hindsight, it was pretty obvious that she was incredibly depressed all year. all that righteous anger I felt about being cheated out of my biology coursework seemed petty and meaningless in comparison. Was I just being a selfish child by feeling that way? I laid there for a good long while, wondering what I should have done differently. Even though I wasn't very close to Mrs. Wilson, I still felt guilty. I'd found out more about her secret life than any other student bothered to, and I felt like I should have been able to figure out everything else too. How could I have missed how obviously depressed she was? Should I have checked on her more? Should I have said something to someone else even though she told me not to? Should I have confronted her about her YouTube channel earlier? Her YouTube channel... It was gone. Completely wiped. The place where I actually learned biology, the only place where I actually saw a smile on her face, was completely gone. I wasn't sure how I felt about anything else that happened, and a large part of me still felt justified in being upset that she hadn't taught me properly in class. But I did feel certain that it was wrong that she wasn't allowed to run her YouTube channel for the entire time she was my teacher. This was something that definitely made her happy, and the school took it away from her. I wasn't sure if they had anything to do with wiping her channel, but I was sure that stopping her from working on her passion was part of what made her so depressed. I still don't know what I could have done to make things better, but I did wish I had told her how much I appreciated her videos. They made me genuinely appreciate biology, and more than that, showed me how much of a difference passion could make in teaching. It made me rethink what subjects I actually liked and disliked, and whether those feelings were because of my own preferences or because my teachers were good or bad. I wondered if it would have made a difference if I told her what an impact her videos had on me, despite the quality of the actual class. And I didn't want to ever have to wonder that about anyone else. From then on, if someone made a positive impact in my life, even if the experiences weren't entirely positive with them, I tried to let them know about it. Not every part of every person will be good, but we still take the good for granted and complain about the negatives. While people should still be accountable for the bad things they've done, I think we also have to tell them about how good the good things were. Otherwise, we'll be left in a world where everyone only ever gets negative feedback, and we lose sight of what we should be trying to become, seeing only a minefield of things that we shouldn't be. Life is too short to not wholeheartedly appreciate people while their lives still intersect with our own. So if there's anyone out there who has helped you in some way and who you haven't thanked yet, I hope you'll take a moment to tell them what their actions meant to you.